So has your son ever asked you the question, Mom, Dad, do you think I'm good enough to play college baseball? Do you think I can play professional baseball? I can remember when my son asked me that question. Well, in today's video, I am going to not only give you a great way of answering that question, but I'm also going to share some amazing success stories of kids who also asked that question, who ended up getting on to the next level. I'm going to talk about their journey, and it's going to help you go through this with your son. So it's all coming up in this video. Let's get started.
And now, the most trusted name in all of youth sports, here's Coach Mark.
All right, so let's jump right into it. Your son looks at you. He's counting on Mom and Dad to tell him the truth. Mom, Dad, do you think I can play Division I baseball? What a question. I can remember when my son asked me that question, and it was sort of this moment of truth, okay? It's like, okay, this is a gigantic goal, a gigantic dream. You don't want to squelch their dream, but you also don't want to give them unrealistic expectations, right? So how do you answer this question? Well, let me tell you what I came up with and see if it might not help you. Here's what I said to my son. I said, Christian, he was 12 years old at the time, by the way. I said, here's the thing. The first thing is you're going to learn the difference between a dream and a goal. Okay, so a dream right now is what you want, but I want to help you turn it into how you get what you want. Okay, so that's a life lesson right there. Everybody has dreams, right? Nothing wrong with having dreams, but when you don't have a plan, when you don't have action steps, dreams stay dreams for a lot of people. But when you have action steps, you can turn those dreams into reality. So the first thing is you have to be realistic about getting what you want. Okay, so that's number one. The second part is, and I said to him, when we turn the dream to the plan, then you can't do anything more than that, right? So you're going to play in front of college coaches. We're going to swing the odds in your favor. We're going to do everything that we know to do to allow your dream to come to fruition. But at the end of the day, I don't make the decision, okay? I'm not the one giving scholarships, so it really doesn't even matter that much what I think, okay? So there's a good tip for parents. It's nice to support your son, but at the end of the day, you're not the one giving the scholarship. The college coaches are. So I said to him, we will see what they say, and that will be the answer. So if you play in front of Division I college coaches and nobody offers you a scholarship, that's the world telling you that you're not ready for that yet. And if they do, then you are. And I'll tell you what, I think it really helped him because it put the focus on the plan, okay? It wasn't about what we wanted. We had to go just execute the plan and adjust along the way. So that is a great answer from Mom and Dad. Just to summarize again, hey, son, we're going to put a plan together because we can clearly see that's what you want. We're going to execute the plan, and then we will see what the college coaches say. That is the answer. Okay, now, I want to transition this into a couple real life stories for you because I personally believe that hearing how this really worked for other athletes. I mean, you're a young parent, you have a young son, the journey is out ahead of you, right? Okay, so I have 20 years of experience I can share with you. So today, I'm going to share a couple stories with you of how this journey looked for certain players. I'm going to use real life examples, and I think you'll be able to relate. Now, the first one I will use is my son because I've been talking about him. Obviously, I've been very close to the journey of him, but I'm going to share two other stories of kids that I worked with that very similar in many ways. Okay, so let's just talk about my son, for example. He's 12 years old, he's kind of chubby, he's kind of slow-footed, and he has got this big dream of playing, in his own words, in the SEC. Okay, so he asked me the question, I give him that answer, and then we put the plan together. And this is the part I want you to listen the most to, okay? The plan. What was the plan? The plan was to clearly identify the areas in his journey that were going to need the most work. Okay, let me say it again. Clearly identify the areas that needed the most work. Why is that so important? Because that's not what comes natural. That's not what most people do. Most people do what they're good at, okay? It's more fun. If you're a good hitter, it's really fun to hit, right? If you're a fast runner, it's just really fun to run around all the time, okay? If you're a really good pitcher, it's really good just to pitch, okay? But the problem with that is we're really only focused on what we're good at. What about what we're not good at? So in his case, he could really hit. He had a really good arm, okay? Wasn't like we didn't work on that, but that wasn't what was going to hold him back. I could clearly see his feet were slow, okay? His physique was not ideal. He was kind of chunky and I don't want to say overweight, but because he was only 12 at the time. But you could see that, you know, there's different body types, and his was going to be the body type we really needed to stay on top of it, okay, to stay athletic, to stay flexible, to stay, you know, to have movements like a Division I athlete. So those were areas that we really focused on. And so that's a tip for you today is don't just get hung up on what you do well. Find out what you don't do well. I call it a yeah, but, just so you know. And here's what that means. If I was watching your son, for example, play, okay, let's say he's 14 years old, 15 years old, and I'm with a college coach. I'm listening for what does that college coach say after the but, okay? I really like this little shortstop, your son, but he's not physical enough, okay? The but is he's not physical enough, and that's what's going to hold him back. He might say, but his feet are too slow, but his arm isn't strong enough, but his footwork isn't good, but is. The point is, if you have a but behind your name, you're not getting a scholarship, okay? So my son's was, but his feet are too slow, but his range is questionable. And so we focused on that, okay? So by doing that, what happens is you end up eliminating the but, okay? So when I'm standing there watching your son play with a college coach beside me and I hear him say, I really like that shortstop, and there's no but, that means that we have arrived. We've gotten to the point where they don't have anything they don't like about your son. There's no but. There's no reason for them not to want to talk to him or want him. So what it sounds like is, hey, coach, I really like your shortstop. Can you have him give me a call? That's what we're after, okay? But you don't get that if you don't focus on the liabilities or the weak areas in your game. Okay, so my son, we went through the journey together. We eliminated those buts. We knew what they were. And to do that, you have to be like, you need to be humble, because the people that think they don't have buts, they find out they do, but they find out too late. Okay, so don't think that your son, his feet are too slow, or he's too heavy, or he's too thin, or he's not strong enough. Don't think that's a bad thing. That's a good thing if you discover it early and do something about it. Okay, so my son got to play in the SEC, had a goal as a 12-year-old. He moved on. And hundreds of other kids that I had the pleasure of working with over the last 20 years had very similar journeys. Now, in today's video, I'm going to just take a few minutes and share a couple other stories with you. And the next story I want to share is a kid named Logan Matthew. Okay, now he's a kid from central Pennsylvania here, and here's a picture of Logan. Okay, this is when he was 13 years old. Now, I love Logan to death. I'll just ruin the story right now. He got to play baseball, Division I baseball, and even some after college. Okay, let me make a statement just so you're clear. The vast majority of kids that I have worked with, they moved on and played college baseball, and most of them Division I baseball and professional baseball even. did not look like that when I started working with them. And trust me, here's my disclaimer. I'm not taking much of the credit for their success at all. Here's why. It was so much hard work on them. They're the ones that did all the work, not me, okay? They're the ones that were doing crazy workouts and crazy adjustments to their diet and nutrition and all that. They had to do all that. I was sort of the guide, okay? I was able to help them understand what needed to happen. They did the hard work. Okay, in Logan's case, he was a big kid. Okay, 13 years old, he was a big kid. He was a little bit pear-shaped, okay? And I'm not saying this in any negative way. I'm just telling the story. Logan would, if he was sitting here, he'd be telling you the same story. I said, Logan, you can really hit. Okay, there's always got to be something that you find in these stories that you can build on, something that you love. We say something that you could dream on, okay? In Logan's case, it was his bat. Big kid, strong, lefty stick, but there were so many other things that were going to hold him back. His feet, his knees, his physique. Okay, maybe even his confidence early on, because, you know, when you're that kid, you don't have the world telling you you're going to be an amazing Division I player. You just don't. Maybe the parents did, because he had great parents, and I was telling him that, but the rest of the people around him, I doubt he had a ton of people telling him how good he was going to be. Okay, so even your confidence. But so you find what you love about a kid, and then you build from there. His bat was the key. Now, I hooked him up, or I don't remember exactly how he got hooked up with a great trainer named Rob Osinski. Okay, Rob Osinski has trained many, many athletes, including a guy named Matt Adams. Matt Adams played in the big leagues, and Logan was very similar to Matt. Okay, big kid, lefty stick, and I remember Rob saying, he's my next Matt Adams, and they worked together. So, long story short, he got himself in great shape, okay? From 13 to 17, he really made improvements, and when he got to college, he made even bigger jumps. He went to Liberty University and just had an amazing career down there, played for Coach Scott Jackson. And, you know, it's just another great story of a kid who wasn't going to be denied. He had people around him that helped him develop, eliminate the yeah buts. Hey, you're too big, Logan. You're too slow. You're not athletic enough, Logan. Blah, 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 blah. Eliminated them all, moved on, beat the system, if you will. Was not a no-brainer Division I kid at all. But he put a plan together, executed the plan, got where he wanted to go. Okay, a great, great kid. Here's another story. Another kid named Chad Loonsman. Another kid local here. I've worked with kids all over the country, but these two happen to be local kids. Chad was almost the opposite of Logan. Chad was a skinny, wiry kid growing up, and lefty stick, but righty thrower. And we couldn't figure out if he was going to be a position player or a pitcher. But the one thing I kept saying to Chad was, you got to get stronger. You got to get stronger. You got to get stronger. You got to put some muscle on those bones, Chad. And he told me later on, sort of after the journey, how much that motivated him, but also infuriated him, because, you know, this guy just keeps saying the same thing over and over and over. But that was his yeah, but he was going to go through the whole journey, and if he didn't do that, he was going to hear, hey, Chad, I like you, but you're just not physical enough. You're too tall and skinny, okay? You're not quick enough. You're not athletic enough. You don't have the muscle to play at the next level. Well, we focused on that, and he did a lot of the work, okay? By the time he was a junior in high school, now remember, I started working with him early. By the time he was a junior in high school, he was turning into a dude, and by his senior year, he got a scholarship to play at Nebraska. He goes out to Nebraska, and by this time, he became a pitcher. It kind of became evident that was where his his talents were the most. And man, he went out there and became the Big Ten Freshman of the Year. We were so proud of Chad. And he went on and had a great career. Just a great kid. Now he's an engineer working on nuclear subs. Okay, pretty cool to see these kids from such a young age to go through the journey and then on into the real world. But another great story of a kid that if he doesn't hear these things early in his career, and more importantly, doesn't do anything about it, he probably doesn't even go to Nebraska, let alone become the Big Ten Freshman of the Year. Okay, so there's common denominators. In closing, I want to wrap this up with these kids. Okay, let me reiterate what the common denominators are. Number one, there is something about them that we zero in on in a positive way. There's something we like. In Chad's case, we loved his arm action, we loved his athleticism, we loved his makeup. Okay, in Logan's case, we loved his bat. You could just see the kid could really hit. In my son's Christian's case, we liked his arm, we liked his bat. So you zero on, you start there. Okay, the second thing is you identify the areas that really are going to need development, really going to need improvement. Okay, so you humble yourself, you understand you've got yeah buts, and it's okay. Okay, then you put the plan together. You got to have the plan to eliminate the yeah buts. Okay, there's a lot of positive encouragement going on. By the way, all of these kids had great parents, all of them. The parents were willing to hear about the yeah buts, okay? They weren't know-it-alls. They weren't in denial. They weren't delusional. They understood their kid needed to work and they needed guidance, okay? They supported that all the way, stayed positive most of the time, okay? And then the kids put in the work and they got on to the next level. That's sort of the microcosm of the success formula. So I'll leave it there. These are real life stories, real life people that it changed their life. Now, you as a parent, if you're watching this video, I'm thinking that you love this stuff. You're eating it up and you're trying to help your son. So keep watching our videos because I promise you, we are trying to help parents and their players navigate this thing and get on to the next level. That is really why we do what we do. Okay, so thanks for watching. Until we talk again, God bless. Moms, dads, Coach Mark here. Did you know that there was more help available to you? It's true. Now, we love doing our YouTube videos. We're going to continue to do them. And please, by the way, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit some comments, get engaged with us. That helps build our YouTube channel so we can continue providing this free content. But in addition to that, you may not know about the Ambassadors Group. That is the consulting company that I formed specifically to get intimately involved with certain families, players, to help them all the way through the journey of youth sports. We're starting with kids as early as 10 and 11 years old. Now, I know all the haters out there are going to say, what are you doing with 10-year-olds? You know what? We're preparing these kids for the journey ahead. There's a big journey coming, and those that are prepared for it are going to do fine. Those that are unaware of what it's all about are going to really struggle in today's uber competitive environment. And parents, there's no guidebook of how to do this. Youth sports is a phenomenon. When I was a kid, there was no parent involvement. But now, as you know, you're very involved. So we're helping guide parents through this journey. There's a lot of things coming your way. If you have help, they can go smoothly, but if you don't and you wing it on your own, it can be a disaster. Okay, I can't get into all the details now, but trust me, in 20 years, I've seen a lot of people blow it because they just didn't know what they were doing, okay? Not trying to fearmonger you, I'm trying to help you understand it's hard to get to the next level. 97% of high school players will never play Division I baseball. 93% will never play any college baseball. Those are the stats, okay? Pretty sobering. But here's another stat for you. Nearly 100% of our clients are moving on to the next level. And you might say, how is that possible? Here's how. We are very selective with who we choose to work with, okay? We're also very specific on what needs to happen. We have a game plan. We execute the plan. We make adjustments along the way because there are things that happen that we can't foresee. We're good at making adjustments. And then when the time comes, we have a database full of college coaches that are supporting us. Because think about it, if you're a college coach, wouldn't you love a program that is actually grooming kids with integrity, with commitment, with goal setting, with attitude, with respect, with community outreach, being a great teammate? I mean, I could go on and on of the things that we're doing with our clients to help prepare them for these guys at the next level. So, if that sounds interesting to you, here's what you need to do. Fill out the little form down below. Answer a couple simple questions, and if we think you qualify, we're going to get back in touch with you. We're going to set up a private consultation just for you, and we'll talk about your son. We'll talk about the plan that he could have, and we'll find out if this makes sense that we work together. That's the Ambassadors Group. So, I hope to talk to you soon.